Toni Braxton finally broke her silence about all those Birdman and Cash Money rumors, and wow, she came with receipts. For years, whispers swirled that Birdman's empire was built on something dark and twisted, but Toni just confirmed what everyone had been suspecting all along. Birdman's been living off bad energy for so long, it's starting to eat him alive. And Toni, she's no longer watching that destruction unfold from the front row. Their love story always had people side-eyeing. Like, seriously, how does a soulful, elegant woman like Toni Braxton end up wrapped up with a street legend like Birdman? That wasn't no Cinderella story. Behind the shiny diamonds, private jets, and red carpet smiles, there was a different kind of power, one that didn't feel right. Toni didn't walk away because the spark was gone. She walked because she saw what was lurking behind that empire's doors, that secret marriage. Oh, it was real, not just online gossip. Papers were signed, things were set, and then boom. 2 weeks later, the whole thing exploded. Toni jumped online screaming, all cap, trying to scrub away every trace. That wasn't drama, that was a warning shot. She knew what kind of darkness she was stepping away from before it could swallow her whole. And let's not act brand new. Cash Money has had stories floating around for decades. Secret meetings, weird deals, and old school artists like Juvenile and Turk dropping cryptic hints about what goes down when cameras stop rolling. Toni saw that up close and knew exactly what kind of vibe she was surrounded by. This woman has already faced lupus, heart surgery, and literal brushes with death. So if she calls something toxic, you better believe her. She wiped her socials clean, dropped the distractions, and focused on protecting her peace. Meanwhile, Birdman, his whole world started crumbling right in front of everyone. Cameras caught him slumped on stage, eyes half closed, body moving slow like his spirit had clocked out. Fans online started calling him the Black Joe Biden, joking that he looked drained, weak, maybe even sick. Then came those wild clips from the Hot Boys reunion. Chaos on stage. Birdman was mumbling mid-sentence, barely keeping his balance under those bright lights. Some fans whispered seizures, others said relapse, but whatever it was, he didn't look like the boss everyone once feared. Those videos went viral in seconds. The internet had a field day. Still, his circle scrambled to clean things up, insisting, "He's fine," when he clearly wasn't. BG jumped in quick, laughing it off on camera like nothing happened. He said Birdman wasn't high, just squinting at the teleprompter. "Man, that boy all business," BG told the interviewer, brushing it off like everything was cool. But that's the same story everyone around Birdman keeps spinning. No relapse, no breakdown, just bad lighting and a long night. And hey, maybe that's true. Or maybe there's something darker slipping through. Because that haunting image of Birdman slouched under the spotlight, barely conscious while the music kept playing, that doesn't fade from your mind, especially when you think about how many artists tied to that same empire have burned out, careers gone cold, voices silenced, and spirits left broken. Something's not adding up. Let's keep it real. Toni Braxton didn't just leave a man, she escaped a machine that was devouring itself from the inside out. Birdman's name has been floating in ritual talk for years, but people twist that up. When insiders say Cash Money rituals, they don't mean candles and cloaks. It's all about power, loyalty, and control. That label didn't move like a normal record company. It moved like a brotherhood built on silence, fear, and the price of staying in line. Every artist had to prove where their loyalty stood before they could even rep that iconic logo. Think about it. The infamous lip kisses, the daddy nickname, the matching tattoos, none of that was random. Those were pledges, marks of belonging. Once you were in, Birdman made sure you followed his rules, or you were out, quick, no second chances. He turned loyalty into a full-blown performance. Flashy cars lined up like trophies, stacks of cash shown off on camera, diamond chains tossed around like candy. But behind every so-called gift was a quiet threat. The message was clear. I gave you this. Don't forget who's in charge. That wasn't family. That was control dressed up as love. And in the Cash Money world, silence wasn't just respected, it was required. Open your mouth and you'd find yourself erased from the picture overnight. Look at the old names, UNLV, Kilo G, gone from the spotlight without a trace. Some say Kilo even paid the price for speaking out. But the whole illusion cracked when Lil Wayne finally stood his ground. Suddenly, fans saw the truth. It wasn't magic holding that empire together, it was manipulation. The so-called cash money brotherhood turned out to be a system built to keep people in check. People online call it ritualistic, but really it's simpler and colder. Birdman didn't build that empire on belief. He built it on obedience. The real sacrifices weren't animals or symbols. They were people's freedom, creativity, and self-worth. Every flashy loyalty test became a kind of religion, fake faith powered by fear. And that's exactly the world Toni Braxton walked into. She saw it all. The way energy shifted when Birdman entered a room, how even grown men would drop their eyes in silence, like they were standing before something sacred. That didn't feel like love, it felt like a warning. Around him, worship wasn't optional, it was expected. But Toni's no follower, she's a survivor. After everything she's battled, lupus, heartbreak, and a lifetime of pressure, she wasn't about to bow to another man's power trip. So she made her move, no drama, no loud exit, no messy headlines, just gone. And from that moment, everything around Birdman started falling apart. That quick marriage wasn't a simple breakup. It was the beginning of his unraveling. They'd been public since way back in 2016, but only last year did they quietly make it official in secret. And from the jump, that honeymoon was cursed. When you build love on control and fear, it's only a matter of time before the cracks show. Just 2 days after their private ceremony, Toni Braxton filed for divorce, calling the marriage irretrievably broken. That phrase hit the internet like a bomb. Fans couldn't believe it. She later pulled the petition in January 2025, but by mid-year, when both wiped each other from social media, the message was loud and clear. This wasn't just a split, this was an erasure. The empire that once looked untouchable was starting to crumble, and Toni was done being part of the storm. Then came the explosion. Birdman jumped online furious and loud, like he had something to prove. He started throwing wild accusations, calling Toni Braxton a gold digger and claiming she pawned her engagement ring while trying to squeeze him for $160 million payout. The internet lit up instantly. Gossip blogs went into overdrive, reaction channels were streaming nonstop, and timelines everywhere split into teams. Hashtag Team Toni or hashtag Team Birdman. Outside the hip-hop world, R&B and pop fans painted Birdman as manipulative and petty, while trap and southern rap circles backed him up, calling him a real boss, just defending his name. That never back down attitude became part of his brand again. Toxic to some, loyal to others. Financially, Birdman walked away clean since Toni's divorce filing got tossed, but his reputation cracked right down the middle. Toni, meanwhile, had fans rallying behind her at first. The narrative was clear: a strong woman escaping control and reclaiming peace. But when the $160 million rumor and the mystery of that missing $5 million ring hit the headlines, everything flipped. Suddenly, people were bringing up her old bankruptcies and money troubles. Sponsors started backing away, a few deals slowed down, but something unexpected happened. Her old music started climbing the charts again. People were revisiting Unbreak My Heart, Breathe Again, all the timeless hits. Her old documentaries about women's financial struggles and independence started trending again too. The chaos gave her career new life. But while the internet obsessed over their drama, the storm spread beyond them, straight into the cash money empire. Industry insiders whispered that Birdman's grip on his label was slipping. Some producers and up-and-coming artists linked to Lil Wayne's Young Money started backing out of collaborations with Cash Money names after all the public mess. Those small moves showed a big truth. The empire that once looked bulletproof was cracking from within. Still, Birdman being Birdman, he flipped the scandal into strategy. He took all that tabloid noise and turned it into promo for rich gang releases, pushing the idea that controversy equals clicks. And for a moment, it worked. Streams went up, the headlines kept his name hot, and the money kept rolling in. But once the dust finally settled, Birdman still had his label, just not the respect he used to command. Fans stopped seeing him as a legend and started seeing him as a cautionary tale. Toni, though, she came out of the chaos with sympathy, power, and a spotlight she hadn't had in years, even with critics still whispering about her motives. Whether people loved or doubted her, one thing was crystal clear: the old Cash Money alliance was done. And that's when the whole narrative shifted, from love and loyalty to the real rituals of money. because the way Cash Money Records handled finances has always been infamous, and not for the right reasons. Even Jadakiss once joked on stage, "Birdman's money got wings," and fans knew exactly what he meant. Yeah, Cash Money built the blueprint for Southern hip-hop domination, hit after hit, mansion after mansion, but behind all the luxury was a setup designed to keep artists locked in and owing forever. The label was a revolving door of talent and debt. Artists claimed their advance checks came late, got sliced down, or turned into loans that could never be fully paid back. Those contracts? Full of hidden traps and tiny print. Even T.I.'s old $10 million lawsuit pulled back the curtain. Turns out, when he signed his first deal as a teenager, his lawyer was representing both him and the label. That's not just shady, that's a setup. It guaranteed every deal tilted one way, right into Birdman's pockets. The so-called Cash Money Code wasn't just about loyalty or fame. It was about keeping everyone on a leash made of paper and contracts. Behind all that flex and fame, that's what Cash Money was really powered by. Control disguised as business. Every diamond chain, every jet, every mansion photo was part of a bigger game, one where loyalty had a price tag and power was the real currency. And when it comes to money and betrayal, nobody's story hits harder than Lil Wayne's. Back in 2017, Wayne's legal war with Cash Money wasn't just about unpaid checks, it was about a whole system built to keep artists trapped. He accused Birdman and Universal of secretly playing with his streaming stats, cutting into publishing rights, and shaving off royalty profits. When it all came to court, Wayne had to settle for way less than what he truly earned. That case cracked open the illusion and showed everyone that the so-called family empire running hip-hop was built on contracts, not brotherhood. Birdman was running his own remix of the Suja Knight playbook, but smoother, flashier, and colder. Instead of fists and fear, he used seduction and shine. He'd hand out cars, pour champagne on stacks of cash, and flood wrists with diamonds, but those gifts were symbolic payments, a trick to make artists feel rich while their contracts kept them chained tight. Every flashy gesture came with an unspoken message. You're winning because of me. Don't forget it. That wasn't love. That was control wearing a designer chain. The real rituals weren't in backrooms or ceremonies, they were in the paperwork. The fine print was the magic trick. That legendary 1998 deal with Universal set the tone. An 80-20 profit split, with the big cut going straight to Cash Money. And Birdman copied that same setup for his own artists. Most of them never owned their masters, and trying to get a clean royalty report? Forget about it. It was like chasing smoke. Then came Birdman's infamous line that echoed through studios for years. "Sue me when I have to pay you. You'll get paid." That wasn't a joke, it was a warning. Inside the industry, that quote became both a threat and a prophecy. And when Universal stepped in later to bail Cash Money out of their growing debts, it wasn't charity, it was strategy. They tightened their control over distribution, turning what should have been artist earnings into corporate power plays. That's when the ghost royalties started popping up. Money meant for artists being quietly funneled higher up the chain, a whole hidden economy running behind the scenes. Loyalty got you cars, jewelry, and public love, but the second you questioned the system, your career went cold overnight. You'd get shelved, muted, or conveniently forgotten like you never existed. Still, Birdman kept the illusion alive with his over-the-top lifestyle, private jets, endless mansions, and that legendary Stuna Island energy. The myth of the mogul stayed alive in public, but behind the velvet curtains, the empire was cracking. Insiders whispered that by 2025, Cash Money had turned into a medieval label. Birdman and Slim sitting like kings on golden thrones, while younger artists like Jacques swore eternal loyalty just to stay in the game. This wasn't about hidden rituals, it was about learned behavior. Business habits turned into culture, and control turned into tradition. Birdman didn't need magic. He had paperwork, silence, and loyalty built on fear. Behind all the bling, jets, and bravado, one truth stayed clear. This empire was built to serve the top and only the top. But by 2025, even that iron grip was slipping fast. Some of the biggest names tied to the label started moving quietly behind Birdman's back, negotiating their own deals, forming alliances, and planning exits. The loyalty code that once defined Cash Money was breaking apart, and everyone inside that kingdom was suddenly out for themselves. Lil Wayne made it loud and clear how he was done playing nice. That old tension between him and Birdman exploded all over again, right in front of the world. During the Hot Boys reunion tour, Wayne and the whole crew straight up walked off stage mid-performance, leaving Birdman frozen under the lights, surrounded by a hyped-up crowd, speechless. The clip hit the internet like wildfire. Within hours, it was everywhere. Fans were replaying it frame by frame, dissecting the moment Wayne finally said, without saying a word, "It's over." And just a few weeks earlier, at Lil Louisiana Fest 2025, Wayne gave Birdman another public slap, cutting him off mid-sentence during a tribute to Birdman's mom, Ms. Gladys. No warning, no hesitation, just click, mic off. That silence said everything. The forgiveness they showed during their 2018 reunion expired. The old wounds had reopened, old checks were still missing, and the old loyalty dead and buried. Wayne wasn't just setting boundaries, he was reclaiming the throne that was always his. But while Wayne came in swinging, Juvenile played it different. Calm, cool, but sharp. During the Cash Money Millionaire's 30th anniversary tour, Juvie called out Birdman's booking team for underpaying or outright ghosting fellow Hot Boy Turk. He didn't go off or rant, he just said it straight, letting the truth cut through the noise. You could feel the weight in his voice, that mix of disappointment and pride. He was loyal to the label that made him, but he wasn't blind to how it treated his people. By summer, though, Juvenile flipped the vibe. He dropped new music, fresh collabs, and brought that classic Southern confidence back. He wasn't trying to start drama, but the message came through loud. "I'll stand with you, but I won't bow to you." Then there was Drake, and his move was pure chess. Sure, Kendrick called him a snake, but whatever you think of him, Drake doesn't make emotional moves, he makes power plays. He didn't diss Birdman on tracks or interviews. Instead, in 2025, he quietly filed a lawsuit against Universal, the very machine that Birdman relied on. Insiders saw it instantly. Drake was untangling himself from the system, step by step. It wasn't beef, it was business. He was carving out his independence while still using Cash Money's infrastructure to his advantage. And Nicki Minaj? She didn't say a word, but every move she made spoke volumes. Birdman went on record bragging that Cash Money made over $2 billion off Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki, claiming he paid them handsomely. But Nicki never confirmed, never denied, she just moved different. She funneled her music through her own imprint, expanded her brand, and built her own empire brick by brick. No drama, no subtweets, just boss moves in silence. By the end of 2025, the truth couldn't be denied. Birdman's big three were done, at least in spirit. Wayne's walk-offs, Juvenile's public shade, Drake's legal maneuvers, and Nicki's quiet independence told one clear story. Loyalty had an expiration date. The same artists who helped build Cash Money's legacy were now building their own kingdoms, free from the shadow of the man who once ruled them. Behind closed doors, things got messy. Rumors of new lawsuits, silent separations, and private confrontations spread fast across the industry. Insiders said the Cash Money studios felt like a ticking time bomb, egos clashing, lawyers circling, and longtime friends turning into quiet rivals. By late 2025, that once mighty empire wasn't a label anymore. It was a battleground, and the whole world was tuned in, watching every shocking moment unfold live, wondering if the house that Birdman built was finally about to collapse. Leaked clips, backstage tension, and shady tweets made it impossible to keep the truth under wraps. Hip-hop fans were living for it. Cash Money had turned into a full-blown soap opera where every lyric, every Instagram story, and every rumor felt like a new episode. Every moment was content, and the internet couldn't get enough. Inside the studio, Birdman was still trying to play boss like it was the old days, controlling every release, every feature, and every track that hit the air. If you didn't move how he said, your project could disappear overnight. Whole albums were getting shelved, videos scrapped, and timelines delayed just so he could remind everyone who really called the shots. It was business, but with a side of intimidation. Wayne, though, wasn't having it. Reports started leaking of fiery studio blow-ups, shouting matches between him and Birdman over royalties, track lists, and who had the final say. Some of those moments even made their way online. Grainy clips of Wayne barking orders while Birdman snapped back with everyone else in the room sitting there like statues. It was raw, tense, and impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Drake and Nicki were playing it smart, keeping their distance. Instead of showing up in person, they were sending verses remotely, staying productive while sidestepping the chaos completely. It was strategy. Protect your brand, stay out of the fire, and still collect the wins. And that tour, pure chaos. The 2025 Cash Money Millionaires 30th anniversary tour was supposed to be a celebration of legacy, but it turned into a circus of confusion. Canceled shows, no-shows, last-minute lineup changes, fans were lost, insiders were whispering, and the energy behind the scenes was ice cold. What was once a legendary reunion had turned into a public meltdown. At least one major show got canceled just hours before it started. Scheduling conflicts, they said, but everyone knew that was code for drama. Whispers flew about clashing egos, secret feuds, and management breakdowns happening behind closed doors. Fans saw it for what it was. Another sign that Birdman's grip was too tight, that loyalty in his world always came with strings attached. And when the crew did make it on stage, you could feel the tension in the air. During the Hot Boys segment, Lil Wayne didn't hold back. He cut Birdman off mid-speech, right there in front of thousands of screaming fans. No hesitation, no apology, just pure defiance. That wasn't an accident, it was a statement. The old brotherhood was done. The so-called family was finished. Missed flights, late arrivals, and surprise lineup swaps kept the whole tour feeling unpredictable. Fans never knew who would actually show up. Every concert felt like a gamble, a mix of nostalgia, drama, and live tension you could feel through the crowd. Each performance became less about the music and more about the spectacle, and fans couldn't look away. But it wasn't just the audience watching. Backstage eyes were everywhere. Industry insiders, sponsors, and label reps were clocking every misstep, every rumor, every leaked video. Word got out that big brands were quietly backing out, terrified to attach their name to a ticking PR time bomb. No company wanted to risk being part of Birdman's unraveling empire, especially when every meltdown was trending in real time. Yet somehow the chaos only made things hotter. Hardcore fans turned into detectives, analyzing every lyric, every caption, every look exchanged on stage like clues in a mystery. They weren't just listening to the music, they were decoding the drama. The mess had become part of the myth, and fans couldn't stop feeding it. By the end, the studios, the tours, and the online firestorms all merged into one giant spectacle. A wild, high-stakes showdown between loyalty, ego, and survival. Cash Money wasn't just a label anymore. It was a live-action saga unfolding in real time. So what do you think? One, is this really the end of the Cash Money dynasty, or just another power play in hip-hop's never-ending game? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this with someone who still remembers those classic Birdman and Wayne days. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives just like this. See you on the next one.